we are back on Sports Fan Radio. I'm your host, Chris, and we have Arizona Cardinals cornerback Richard Marshall on the air. Hey, Richard, how's it going?
All right, yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. You about ready to start this interview?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, well, before we do, I just want to thank you for joining us on Sportsman Radio. It's a true honor to have you on the show.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start it. You went to college at Fresno State and, of course, played football there. How do you like Fresno State?
I loved it. I was able to, play, not too far from home in the state of California, and, still have, some great college moments playing against some of the, so-called big-name schools and make a couple of plays against those schools.
If you had to name one most memorable play that you played as being a part of Fresno State, what would you have to say it would be?
My first, I really have to, because my first game ever playing college football was against Tennessee, and I took an interception 82 yards and scored, and then the other one was playing against Boise State. It was my first time beating Boise State in 4 years, and that was big for me because a lot of our players never beat Boise State, and I had an opportunity to be on the team to actually beat them.
All right, and in the 2006 NFL draft, you were drafted in the second round by the Carolina Panthers. How was that moment for you, and did you expect to be drafted in the second round, or did you expect to be drafted earlier in the draft, later in the draft, or you really weren't focused much on when you got drafted, just as long as you got drafted? Was that like the main point?
The experience was great for me. I was at home with a lot of family and friends, and just enjoyed the experience with them. I really didn't know, where I was going to get drafted. They told me somewhere late first, second round I was going to get drafted. So, I was pretty much, just waiting until I got called. And, when I got that call, it was a happy moment for me. I was, ready to go out there and put my best foot forward.
All right, and you played with the Panthers for a few years, even made it to the NFC divisional round back in 2008 and took a tough loss against your current team now, the Arizona Cardinals, 33-13. I got to ask you, how was the emotion in the locker room after that game?
It was bad, because we just knew, we had that game, was going to win that game. If you go back, we went down, marched straight down, and we scored on them our first drive. And, we felt good about that. And then after that, it just went downhill. And Arizona, came and, they beat us. They played, tougher than we played, and, they made more plays than we made during the game. And then just, in the locker room after the game, it was tough. A lot of guys just sitting in the locker room an hour and a half after the game, just thinking about, what they could have did, better. And, we was all talking about it and, feeling bad about the situation. But, we had to move forward and get ready for the next year, and get ready for the offseason. But, it was tough.
All right, and of course, playing in Carolina, you played with some great defensive ends such as Chris Campbell, Ken Lucas, and Charles Godfrey. Did you learn anything from those guys? Or maybe any of your other former teammates?
One guy that, I really learned from was Mike Minter. When I first got there, he was a guy, he was all about football. He was professional, on and off the field. And that's something, I learned a lot from him, how to be a professional on the field, how to be a professional off the field, how to study. Because when I first got there, I was trying to look at everybody's position and trying to learn the whole playbook. And, it took him to sit me down and tell me, no, you got to learn your position first. Learn what you do. And after you learn what you do, then you can learn what everybody else do around you. And that will make you a better football player. And that's something that, I took to heart. And, I learned what I had to do and then learned what I had to do, what people did around me. And that's even something that I took with me in Arizona. I learned the corner spot, and then I was able to move to safety when Kerry Rose went down this year, because I learned the defense as a whole, and that's something that, was great for me, being able to, show my versatility and play in multiple positions. All
right, and now you're with the Arizona Cardinals. Was there there any bad blood, maybe when you first joined the team, thinking like, dang, this is the team that we went down to just a few years ago in the playoffs? Did you think anything like that?
No. We talked about the game a little bit, some of the players, because actually that game, me and Early Doucette actually had, a couple words. We threw a couple of, blows, and, we got a tour during that game. When I got to Arizona, now I was on their team. We were teammates, so it was no reason to even, go there or talk about the past. I mean, that was, 4 years ago? It's been 4 Super Bowls after that. So, I mean, it was nothing but, go back and talk about it. I mean, we may have talked about it and joked about it, a couple of times, but other than that, no, we didn't really talk about it.
All right, overall, how do you like Arizona? How do you like playing with the Arizona Cardinals?
I'm loving it. It's a great organization, great teammates, great coaches. The coaches are behind you 100%. It's a great defensive scheme, that Ray Horton got us in. And, in the beginning it was hard for a lot of our players to, grasp the scheme and really learn the defense. But as the season went on and we started learning it, and he started throwing more stuff at us to do more things on the field, it helped us out a lot. And we started turning the season around. But, it was too late. And, hopefully next year, we can pick it up from where we left off and build on it.
All right, and how'd you react when you found out the Panthers weren't going to re-sign you and that you would have to sign with a different team? Was there actually just pretty much like how'd you feel? Like did you maybe feel betrayed because this was your first time not being re-signed at all, or how'd you feel?
No, because actually Carolina did offer me a deal, but it wasn't, at the end of the day, it wasn't a deal. It wasn't a deal that, I felt comfortable with, and I know it's a business. So, I mean, I didn't have no hard feelings. I had a great time in Carolina. The fans was great. I love playing with some of the players out there. I'm still close to some of the guys that was on the team, and I still talk to them guys, every week. A lot of guys I talk to, a lot of days just, calling them like, man, how was your week? How was your game? What you do? Because we can't watch the game when we both play at the same time. So, I talk to some guys, see what they did in the game. We talk, laugh, joke around. But, I mean, I loved it out there. There's no hard feelings. With the organization, I know it's a business, and I guess it was just time for me to move on to a next team and, start a new journey.
All right, who would you say you're closest to as of right now on the Arizona Cardinals team?
Michael Adams, and most of the time, because when I got there, me and him couldn't practice, so because we was free agents, so we couldn't practice or whatever. So most of the time, we were sitting there, watching practice together, laughing and joking about things that was going on, and trying to pick up the defense together. So I mean, really him, and then Rashad Johnson, like, I'm already cool with both of them, and hang out with both of those guys pretty much the same. So I mean, I would say those two guys.
All right, and actually, I almost completely forgot. You said you were a free agent. You couldn't practice. Was that maybe an effect that the NFL lockout had on you?
Yeah, that was all of the NFL lockout in the new deal that they put in place, that no free agent could practice the team. I think until we had got to finish getting the deal in place. So the guys, they got picked up free agents. We were just sitting around, watching. Basically, we couldn't practice. We couldn't do nothing with the team. Only thing we was able to do was go to meetings. So other than that, we were just sitting out there, watching practice.
All right, and you're working with one of the best safety combos in the NFL, and definitely one of my favorite combos with Kerry Rhodes and Adrian Wilson. I know you said you had to back up Kerry Rhodes once he broke his foot. How do you think that whole situation affected the team?
I think with Kerry going down there, it kind of affected the team a lot, because Kerry do a lot of things for our team. Kerry's a very smart player, and but with Adrian Wilson out there, still out there, helping the guys out and knowing the defense and putting guys where they need to be, and him doing, what he does is making plays and making big hits, and with those two guys back there, safety together, I mean, got Adrian that'll come down and hit you, and you know he's also a ball hawk. So I mean, they both went to Pro Bowl. So you really got two great guys back there.
Maybe you could tell me, I'm not really sure, how did Kerry Rose get his nickname Spider Rose? Would you know?
I don't even know. This is my first year here, and this is my first year even hearing that. So I mean, when I heard it, you know, some guys call him Spider Rose, some of the guys on the team call him Hollywood. You know, so I mean, I couldn't even tell you.
All right, just a few more questions, and then we'll let you go, Richard. One of those questions is, how would you describe those two guys in one word? How would you describe Adrian Wilson and Kerry Rose?
Kerry, I would describe him as a laid-back kind of guy, and Adrian, I would say he's intense. He's a very intense guy, you know, when he's on the field. But, you know, off the field, he's a very, you know, laid-back, you know, quiet guy, too. He may, you know, laugh and joke around, but for the most part, you know, he try to stay focused on, you know, the task at hand.
Yeah, those two guys definitely seem like two men that definitely just seem focused throughout the whole game, and then maybe after the game they wouldn't mind joking around, but once they're on the field, it's game time. All right, and another question is Patrick Peterson. I mean, he played phenomenal this year, and it's only his rookie year. Let me check out his stats real quick. He had... This is just his defensive stats. 64 tackles, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown. And now for punt returns, he averaged about 16 yards per punt return and had 4 touchdowns. He played great. What do you think he will be seeing from this guy once he's in his 3rd or 4th season?
I think it wouldn't even take 3rd or 4th season. It's going to be next year. He's going to be a great player. He was a great player for this year. You know, he won a lot of games for us this year on punt returns, long punt returns and overtime games. And, you know, even when he didn't score, he was the one, you know, who broke a long punt return and set up a game-winning drive for our offense. So, I mean, Patrick is a great player. He started to, you know, learn the defense and learn what he had to do with meeting with the coaches. And that's something that, you know, I credit to Pat. He wasn't one of the rookies that came in, you know, even though he got drafted high, he didn't want to, you know, listen to nobody. Like, Pat was listening to people. He was going up with the coaches in the mornings, studying extra to learn the defense. And, you know, once he got it, it wasn't no stopping him. He already had the athleticism and the ability to do everything he wanted to do, but it was just him learning the defense and learning what he had to do and learning what people was doing around him. And, you know, after he got that down, everybody seen what he could do. And next year, he's going to be a second year in the defense. He get a whole offseason with the defense and with the coaches. So, I mean, the sky's the limit for Pat. He's a great player.
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't even tell that he was a rookie this season. And you even mentioned it a little bit, this NFL lockout, he didn't even have a whole offseason to work with the team. So, I mean, yeah, we're definitely going to be seeing some big things from this Arizona Cardinals defense. Last question for you, Richard. What can you ensure everyone listening to the show right now that we'll be seeing from you, Richard Marshall, next season?
A guy that's going to go on the field and give it his all, like I do every year, every play. I never give up on plays. I don't, you know, take anything for granted. You never know when your last play is going to be, so, you know, I go hard every play, no matter what it is. And a very intense guy, somebody that's going to come up and tackle, somebody that's not going to shy away from, you know, hitting anybody. That's something that's big with my game. I like coming up, tackling a lot of, you know, corners per se. Don't like tackling, they say, but, you know, that's something that I like to do. I like putting my head in there and trying to, you know, knock somebody out. So, I mean, for me, I just say, you know, wherever I land, I'm going to be, you know, coming in, playing hard for the team. I'm trying to help the team out the best way I know how. Whether it be special teams, you know, they need my special teams, defense, wherever. Like, I don't mind.
Hey, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you on the field next year, Richard. Thanks a lot for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
All right, thanks for having me.